softball fans, and welcome to a chilly edition of the North Dakota Softball All-Stars podcast. As I record this today, it's one of our coldest days of the second half of 2018 here, but nevertheless, we'll look ahead to softball season on this podcast. My name is Tim Howe. I'm the president of the North Dakota Softball All-Stars and happy to be your studio host for the North Dakota Softball All-Stars podcast. So this is the November edition, coming a little bit late. Yeah, life gets you this time of year, right? But here's what we're going to touch on today, some college commitments. We've had a handful of them made public with signings throughout the state of North Dakota that I definitely want to hit on. Probably not going to get to all of them. There are probably some that we don't know about. So if you do have a college commitment, I'd love for you to get it to us. Probably easiest way is Twitter. Find us at NDSB All-Stars. So we'll talk about that. Also, we have some new teams coming in for 2019. Hint, hint, Class B West. That's kind of your guide for the new teams we'll talk about in 2019 as we have a trifecta that'll enter the NDHSAA this year. Talk a little bit about summer softball and just the dichotomy that I think some people get caught in with summer softball, and there's no answers, no great answers. We won't provide any today, but we'll talk about it a little bit. And then also just the role that parents play in youth athletics. I think it's the time of year where we see a lot about that in social media and in stories and articles and that sort of thing. So we'll touch on that just a little bit. So as I mentioned, we'll start by talking about college commitments, and always such a fun time. These kids put in a lot of work in their high school careers and certainly their youth sports careers, and a lot of times not just in one sport, right? They're doing this in maybe a fall sport, maybe a winter sport, maybe both, and then they're putting in time in the spring and summer with softball. So we'll start at Fargo North, where a senior infielder, Taya Opheim, has signed a letter of intent to play her college softball at Iowa Western Community College, a power college in Iowa. They have had a tremendous history of success. Most recently, they went 44-10 last year. So Opheim, an infielder for Fargo North, hit 9 home runs last year as a junior, 45 RBIs, and hit nearly 500. She is headed to Iowa Western Community College. A congratulations goes out there to Taya Opheim. As we continue to go through, congratulations to Mariah Peters, a West Fargo player, plays her summer ball for the West Fargo United team. She's a 2020 graduate of West Fargo, and she's committed to play at the University of North Dakota. She's going to be a Fighting Hawk. Cool for that. The in-state girl, Mariah Peters, with an opportunity to play Division I softball. Staying in that West Fargo United mold, another West Fargo player is Courtney Bull. Spends a lot of time pitching, had a nice season most recently. She is going to continue her education after her high school career at Mayville State University, and she'll also play softball up at Mayville. So congratulations there to Courtney Bull. And yeah, you thought we were done. No, we're going to keep going. Valley City, going to keep it in-house, right? Grace Schur is just going to go down the road and play her college softball for Mike Mook at Valley City State University. So congratulations to those 4 athletes who have had really good high school careers and still have some playing time in front of them and are for sure going to play a little softball at the next level. We love to see that. There were a couple years ago, I think the number was up to 50-ish former North Dakota players playing somewhere. That's from, NDSCS and Lake Region in the area to North Dakota State University to anywhere, like where these 4 are going. So congratulations there again. If there are any commitments we don't know about, we want to know about them. So let us know. So there's the commitments part. We're also talking about growth of college or of high school softball, rather. 3 new teams at least we know about are coming into play for the 2019 softball season. There could be more. Usually that cutoff's about the end of the year to kind of get everything rolling. But Garrison Max and Rugby, those became public a little while back. Both of them will be joining as Class B schools. So glad to have Garrison Max and Rugby involved. And then just a handful of days ago now, Divide County announced that the Maroons will have a softball team. And it sounds like there was a lot of lobbying by players and parents of players, kids who like softball. They have enough numbers. I think the article here says 17 are interested. So there we go. 3 new additions in Class B. I mean, exploding. The growth in Class B softball is very, very impressive. And it's really where the growth can be, right? With all the small communities throughout the state. I just look at the East and I go, how can we get some more? Can we get a Lisbon? Can we get an Oaks? Can we get a Langdon? Can we get some of these teams to have softball? And I know all the arguments. You hear them too. Might take away from track. It might take away from golf. But, I look at the Class B schools around me, and I'm located in Fargo. Central Cass figures it out. Kindred figures it out. Hillsboro, Northern Cass, Hankinson Co-op. They all figure it out. So if you want to play softball, you can do it. Obviously, you need a field. You need to be able to get the equipment. You need to be willing to travel a little bit to play, those sorts of things. But would love to see more growth. But we have the three, Divide County, Garrison Max, and Rugby, all for sure for 2019 to be added to the NDHSAA slate of teams in Class B. So we're halfway home on our topics. I want to talk about summer softball a little bit. It's come up in the circles that I roll in with some of the coaches that I know and some of the softball that I talk. Summer softball around here. There's I mentioned the word dichotomy, probably overstating it a little bit when I say that, but this thought, this struggle. Do I play for my school because they have a summer program probably run by the head coach, maybe with a board that helps support it, of the high school team, the head coach of the high school team with a board that supports it? Or do I go play on these travel teams? And then what happens in tournaments when my school team and my travel team are in the same tournament? I am a high school coach. I am a summer coach. I will admit before we go any further, I don't have any good answers. Lots of things have been talked about. I don't have any real good answers, okay? But what I know is we got to make it happen. We have to give kids opportunities. We have to be flexible. We have to share athletes. I coached at a Class B school in Northern Cass. We talked about that a lot. We have to be able to share athletes. Now, that's in that sense, it's with basketball, it's with volleyball, it's with track, whatever it might be. But we got to do it here too. We need to be willing to share our athletes and figure this summer thing out. Now, some of the potential solutions that people have talked about is, do you restructure a league where, the league is just the school teams, then you go do tournaments, and that's just travel? Does Fargo align itself like it has Little League, and there's just a couple of Fargo teams and maybe a couple West Fargo teams? I don't know. I think it'll continue to evolve now that we have more teams and more kids playing. But the biggest thing, and this is what I hear from every coach, and I want to make sure that all the parents and all the kids who are listening really hear this, the biggest thing is that you're playing and you're getting better. So if you don't have a team to play on, find one. There are opportunities, whether that is travel ball or even just you want to play in league, especially out east. I know out west in the state of North Dakota it's a little bit different, but I promise you those coaches will say the same thing. Kids need to be playing. That's how you get better. We have a shortened window of time up here in North Dakota to actually play softball because of weather. Came in today to record this podcast. I recorded it on December 6th here. It was 10 below wind chill. Yeah, so you need an indoor facility to do anything this time of year. So that's part of the disadvantage of being in this part of the country. It's also part of the advantage because you get away from it a little bit. You get a break. But when spring's here and when summer's here especially, kids, families, just find a place to play. Talk to your coaches. Have those conversations. Figure out what works and just do it. Obviously, going to continue to evolve, but some thoughts there on summer softball. If you've got more, you have an opinion, you have a thought, we love to hear it. So again, you can find us on Twitter at NDSB All-Stars. Another thing I want to talk about, this is a little bit from a coach perspective, but I like to do a lot of reading when I have time on youth sports and proactive coaching and positive reinforcement, all these sorts of things. Parents' role in youth athletics, and I think that includes high school, right? What is your role as a parent? My opinion, from my standpoint, is to let your kid go. Let your kid play. Let your kid fight his or her battles. When your daughter says, I think I should play more, you don't need to go to the coach. Let your daughter go to the coach. Figure out exactly why she's not playing more. Maybe there's something that can be fixed. Parents don't see practices. Parents don't see the habits of all the kids outside of game day, and that's fine. And it's good that way because it's separate entities there. But just support your kid. And in doing so, love them. Remind them how much you love to come watch them play. Whether they go 4 for 4 and hit 4 extra base hits and drive in 8 runs, or if they had one pinch running appearance and got caught stealing, you got to watch your kid play. The kid got to play. Those sorts of things. They get to be part of a team. And I think another role of the parent is to be supportive of the program, whichever program it might be. Coaches are going to make mistakes. I make plenty of them. I think every coach in the state makes plenty of them. Just like a kid who, they make a decision to try to go to third, they get thrown out. We make a decision to try to put a play on, and it doesn't work. Okay. Or sometimes we send the runner to third, and she gets thrown out, and we shouldn't have sent him. That happens. The more support, especially in the time of social media where you can go and find 1,000 hate messages in just a few seconds by going on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, that positive support, we all see it go a long way with our kids. Remind them you love to watch them play. Come watch them when you can and just be supportive. Again, just my feedback. You have more feedback on the parent role in high school sports, youth sports, or maybe softball specifically? Yeah, let us know. Again, Twitter, Facebook, search NDSB All-Stars. All right, again, my name's Tim Howe. This is the North Dakota Softball All-Stars podcast. We ended up with 4 college commitments, which we talked about early in the program. I didn't have time to get all 4 of them on, so going to be strategic about that. But we'll talk to these kids throughout the course of the next several months. We'll get to know them a little bit, and if there's more commitments, we'll talk to them too. That's the fun part of this podcast. Also, a fun thing that we do, one of our biggest event, no two ways about it, is the North Dakota Softball All-Stars hosting the Shields Softball All-Star Series. So excited for some of the things that we've got going for 2019. I can only tell you so much today, but I can tell you this. We're going to be playing again. Another Shields Softball All-Star Series, the 3rd edition, Senior All-Star Week. Fantastic. Going to be Monday and Tuesday after the state tournament again. And, it was a long topic at our board meeting to talk about this, but those are the days that just seem to make the most sense. And it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for these kids, so we hope that they find a way to enjoy it, even with all the stuff going on, especially with state tournaments and graduation and all those things. So we'll play the Monday and Tuesday after the state tournament. Working on 1, possibly 2 potential new venues. Really exciting. We'll share the news on that as soon as possible. As we continue to grow this thing, we're trying to put the kids in the best place. It's like I played hockey in Minnesota growing up, and playing in the state tournament at the Xcel Energy Center was a really big deal. That we might not have an Xcel Energy Center of softball around here, but we have some great facilities, and we are trying to find ways to take advantage and be part of those. So again, that's coming up the Monday and Tuesday after the state tournament, the Shields Softball All-Star Series, and we are so glad to have Shields back on board. No two ways about it. Without Shields, this isn't happening. They've been such big supporters of us from the idea of this to, now year 3. So thank you so much to Shields and all of our supporters and sponsors. But Shields has really, they're the ones that when they bought into this idea, we knew that this could be a reality. So again, thank you to Shields. And then saving what I think is the best announcement for last. I'm really excited about this. We've talked, again, since day one, who can we bring in to speak to these kids? Not an hour-long presentation, but who that matters can come in and talk to these kids about what they've done and about what's next in their life. And we've got that person for the first time. We'll have a guest speaker Monday of the Shields Softball All-Star Series, Valley News Live Sports Director Beth Houle. Beth is a powerful woman working in kind of a man's world, and I know it's not that simple, but a lot of male sports directors. One of my favorite moments of Beth, and hopefully she doesn't hate me for saying this, but Coach Kleiman, he's the NDSU football head coach, a press conference that he was holding before NDSU played Delaware this year, and Delaware had a left-handed quarterback, and it's the only time I've ever heard Beth say this, but she played her girl card and said, I've never played football. Might be a dumb question, but does having to prepare for a left-handed quarterback change any of the things you would do, as you plan defensively? And Chris gave her a big smile and said, Beth, that's not a dumb question at all. That's a great question. And the answer is yes, we do. Their checks are a little bit different. What we call for strength is a little bit different because of the handedness of the quarterback. And I just thought that was cool. It's like the one time Beth has, kind of publicly said, I might not know what I'm saying here, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. And she was dead on. She loves sports. She does a fantastic job covering them and hosting them. She's recently spoke to the Concordia fast pitch softball team. Really excited to have Beth Houle on Monday after the state tournament. Day 1 will be in Fargo. Day 2 will be out west, likely in the city of Bismarck. Again, still working on those sorts of things, but really excited to have Beth come speak to this group and just continue to make the Shield Softball All-Star Series for those 2 days bigger and better. So you're listening to this, no doubt, at least in December, if it hasn't turned over to January, but it's not the December podcast, so we still have one ahead. We are working on some guests for that, working on some topics. If there's something that you want to hear about, if you would like to be on the podcast, just reach out. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search NDSB All-Stars, and you can go to our website, ndsoftballallstars.com. And since I mentioned website, we're also working on a new website that I think will be fantastic and allow us to do a little more coverage, and kind of air quoting there, but just do a little bit more, like list out these kids who are committed to colleges, get more direct routes to scores and standings and those sort of things, using some of our partners in ND Scores and ND Scores on Twitter. I mean, just what a fantastic resource provided there. So again, just throwing a lot at you today. Take it in, share this with your friends. We're getting amped up for softball season. I mean, March 18th is the first practice date, so I think you can be playing games right around that March 30th date, if weather cooperates. So far, as I speak, not a lot of snow on the ground, and yes, I just knocked on wood. But there you have it. Another edition of the North Dakota Softball All-Stars podcast. Studio host Tim Howe. Can't wait to talk to you again later this month. Get some guests on and talk a little softball. In the meantime, find us on social media, find us on our website, and we'll talk to you soon.